There's something new and exciting in the Betty Crocker kitchens. And here's Betty Crocker herself.
Hey everyone, remember those meals that defined an era? The ones that smelled of comfort and filled the kitchen with warmth? Today, we're taking a trip back in time to the golden age of the American home cook, exploring 25 classic Betty Crocker suppers that have largely disappeared from our dinner tables. Get ready for a delicious dose of nostalgia. Let's get started. The classics and comfort foods. We'll begin with the iconic dishes that defined an era. Supper number 1. Tuna noodle casserole. This was a pantry hero. Canned tuna, egg noodles, and a can of cream of mushroom soup, all baked into one creamy, bubbling dish. It was popular because it was incredibly budget-friendly and could feed a crowd. It fell out of favor as tastes moved towards lighter, less processed ingredients. But for many, the memory of that creamy, salty aroma is pure comfort. Supper number 2. Salisbury steak with mushroom gravy. A hearty, satisfying meal that felt like a special occasion. Salisbury steak was a ground beef patty, shaped into a steak and smothered in a rich mushroom gravy. It was a home cook's way to make an affordable cut feel substantial. It faded as people started to prefer leaner cuts of meat and more diverse seasonings. Supper number 3. Tater tot casserole. A true American classic, especially in the Midwest. This dish layered ground beef and vegetables in a creamy sauce and topped it with a crispy layer of tater tots. It was the ultimate comfort food for a cold day and an easy way to get a meal on the table. Its decline came as home cooks sought out fresher, less processed ingredients. Supper number 4. Chicken pot pie. This was comfort in a crust. A flaky pastry shell gave way to a creamy filling of chicken and mixed vegetables. It was popular because it could use up leftovers and was a nourishing, filling meal. While it's still around, the homemade versions have often been replaced by simpler frozen options. Supper number 5. Beef stroganoff. This felt like a touch of elegance on a Tuesday night. Tender strips of beef in a rich, sour cream sauce, often served over egg noodles. It was a dish that made you feel a bit fancy without a lot of effort. It became less common as tastes shifted away from heavy, creamy sauces. Supper number 6. Sloppy Joes. The ultimate messy meal, a tangy and sweet ground beef mixture piled high on a hamburger bun. Kids loved them, and parents loved how fast they were to make. They lost their everyday appeal as people started looking for less processed and cleaner meals. Pantry staples and thrifty meals. These dishes were born out of practicality and thriftiness, making the most of what was in the cupboard. Supper number 7. Goulash. This Americanized version of goulash was a simple, one-pot dish of ground beef, macaroni, and tomatoes. It was a no-fuss meal that could stretch a small amount of meat to feed a whole family. It faded as home cooks sought more complex flavors. Supper number 8. Creamed chipped beef on toast. Known to many by its less-than-flattering military nickname, this was a dish of dried beef in a creamy sauce, served over toast. It was a quick, hot meal and a creative way to use budget-friendly ingredients. Its decline came as the ingredients fell out of favor. Supper number 9. Jell-O salad. Often served as a side dish at dinner, these wobbly, sweet, and savory creations were a potluck staple. A mixture of Jell-O, fruit, and sometimes even vegetables or mayonnaise, it was a colorful but often baffling dish. We stopped making them as our palates changed and our food culture moved away from these retro concoctions. Supper number 10. Porcupine meatballs. Meatballs with a twist. These were made with ground meat and rice, which would puff up and stick out like porcupine quills as they cooked in a savory tomato sauce. It was a fun and economical way to stretch a meal. They aren't as common today, perhaps because their novelty has worn off. Supper number 11. Mock apple pie. This clever recipe used Ritz crackers as a substitute for apples, creating a pie with a surprisingly similar texture and flavor. It was a testament to the resourcefulness of the era. This creative solution is rarely made today, as apples are readily available year-round. Supper number 12. Scalloped potatoes and ham layers of sliced potatoes and ham in a creamy sauce baked until bubbling and golden. This was a classic way to use up leftover holiday ham and create a rich, filling supper. It's still around, but often as a holiday side rather than a standalone meal. Supper number 13. Spam. Supper. Canned spam was a versatile and affordable staple in many households. It could be fried, baked, or added to casseroles. It was a practical solution when fresh meat was expensive or hard to find. Its decline came as the public shifted towards fresher, less processed meats. Supper number 14. Shepherd's pie. A timeless classic, but the Betty Crocker version was often made with ground beef and topped with fluffy mashed potatoes. It was a perfect way to use leftovers and was incredibly satisfying. While still popular, the easy-to-grab frozen versions have replaced many homemade ones. Supper number 15. Creamed peas on toast. A very simple and humble supper. This dish was exactly what it sounds like. Peas in a simple white sauce, served over toast. It was a quick, budget-friendly meal that got a hot supper on the table fast. It fell out of favor as people started to look for more flavorful options. The casserole revolution. Casseroles were the undisputed king of the mid-century kitchen. A one-dish wonder for every occasion. Supper number 16. Hot dish, a Minnesota staple. This simple casserole combined canned soup, a protein, often ground beef, a vegetable, and a starch. It was a no-brainer meal that could feed a large family without much fuss. The name itself has faded as food culture became more global. Supper number 17. Green bean casserole. While often a holiday side dish, this could easily serve as a light supper. Canned green beans in a creamy mushroom sauce, topped with crunchy fried onions. It was a beloved part of a holiday meal, but became less common on weeknights, as tastes moved away from canned goods. Supper number 18. Hamburger Helper. This was a magical box. You'd find it on the shelf in flavors like beef noodle or cheesy Italian, and it promised a complete dinner in just one pan. It was the ultimate fast food for a busy parent. Just brown the ground beef, pour in the mix, and watch it bubble away on the stove, filling the kitchen with a distinct, savory scent. Hamburger Helper was a symbol of convenience, but its decline was part of a larger shift as we became more focused on fresh, unprocessed ingredients and moved away from the era of just add meat. Supper number 19. Tamale pie. This was a fun, festive dish that brought a touch of southwestern flair to the table. A savory, chili-like filling of ground meat and beans would bubble away, topped with a golden brown cornbread crust. Cutting into it was a treat. The steam would rise, and you'd get a perfect combination of the fluffy, slightly sweet cornbread and the rich, savory filling. It was a creative take on a casserole, but its popularity faded as our access to more authentic international cuisines grew, and it became more of a nostalgic relic. Supper number 20. Mock chicken legs. This was a true culinary novelty and a lost art form. Ground meat, often pork and veal, was molded around a skewer and breaded to resemble a chicken drumstick. It was a clever, playful trick to make a cheaper cut of meat feel special and was a huge hit with kids. There was a certain charm to these whimsical creations. They've since become a memory, as the abundance of affordable real chicken made these mock versions a thing of the past. The final 5. Let's wrap up our trip with the final 5 meals that evoke powerful memories. The ones that defined simplicity and comfort. Supper number 21. Beef and biscuit bake. Imagine this. A thick, savory layer of ground beef simmering in a rich tomato-based sauce, all bubbling beneath a blanket of warm, golden biscuits. It was the ultimate all-in-one meal, promising a perfect bite every time, the light, fluffy biscuits soaking up all that hearty, meaty sauce. The aroma alone was pure comfort. It's a dish that deserves to be brought back, as it perfectly captures the spirit of a hearty, no-fuss family meal. Supper number 22. Tomato soup with grilled cheese. This isn't just a meal, it's a feeling. Picture a creamy, tangy bowl of tomato soup, its surface a vibrant red, waiting for you to dunk a crisp, buttery grilled cheese. The sound of the sandwich's crust cracking as you bite into it, followed by the stringy, molten cheese. It's a universal comfort. While still a beloved lunch, this perfect duo was once a complete supper, a warm, simple solution on a cold or rainy evening. Supper number 23, corned beef hash. A simple but incredibly satisfying dish. This was the ultimate way to get a hot, hearty meal on the table, using just a few pantry staples. The potatoes would get crispy and golden brown, mixing with the savory, chopped corned beef and onions. It was a no-frills meal that filled the house with a comforting, salty aroma and served as a reminder of a time when every bit of food was used wisely. Supper number 24, liver and onions. This was a truly divisive supper. For some, the aroma of sweet caramelized onions and rich iron-scented liver was a sign of a nourishing meal. For others, it was a supper to be endured. It was often seen as a nutritional powerhouse, a must-eat meal from an era when organ meats were a common, affordable protein. Its strong, unique flavor and texture led to its decline as palates broadened, but its memory is still vivid for those who grew up with it. Supper number 25, meatloaf. While meatloaf is still popular, the old-school version was an icon. A dense, perfectly formed loaf, often topped with a shiny, bright red ketchup glaze, it was the sturdy centerpiece of a family dinner. It promised a satisfying meal and the bonus of cold meatloaf sandwiches for lunch the next day. It wasn't fancy, but it was reliable, comforting, and a symbol of a classic American home-cooked supper. So, there you have it. 25 old Betty Crocker suppers that have largely faded from our kitchens. Which ones did you remember? Did any of these bring back a specific memory of your own? Let me know in the comments below. It's amazing how food can be such a powerful time machine, isn't it? These dishes might seem simple, but they were part of the fabric of our family life for so many years. They represent a time when supper was a shared event, a moment of connection. Thanks for taking this nostalgic trip with me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more trips down memory lane. Until next time, take care and happy reminiscing.